With the world's elite so closely matched at the moment, and with Luke Donald reclaiming the top spot over the weekend, Golfing World has put together a brief history of the world number one. When the world rankings were introduced in April 1986, Bernhard Langer found himself the inaugural number one. The consistent German was a major force throughout the 80s and 90s and was in the top 20 for more than a decade. He won 2 Masters titles and is the second most successful player ever on the European Tour. Seve Ballesteros was already a 4-time major champion and multiple Order of Merit winner when he took top spot. The much-loved Spaniard became a legend, spending a total of 61 weeks at number one during the late 80s, and still remains the European Tour's most prolific player. It was the Aussie Greg Norman who dominated the rankings up until 1990 with his power and great technique. In a remarkable 1986 dubbed the Norman Slam, in which he led all 4 majors at the end of Saturday, Norman finished runner-up in both the PGA Championship and the Masters. He eventually won his first major, the Open Championship, at Turnberry. Welshman Ian Woosnam set a global record for tournament earnings in 1990 of more than £1 million and spent almost a year at number one as a result of some great form. His one-stroke Masters victory in 1991 cemented his position at the top in a career that featured more than 30 professional wins. The popular Fred couple spent 16 weeks at the top in 1992 after a hot couple of seasons. It marked the first time an American had ever reached the world number one position since the official rankings began. Considered one of the best golfers in the world since the mid-80s, Nick Faldo had 5 major wins before he rose to the summit and achieved number one status. The Englishman spent 93 weeks at the top with the help of a 6th major, a total that makes him the 3rd highest of all time. During the mid-90s, Zimbabwean Nick Price distinguished himself as one of the world's best. A great ball striker, he spent 44 weeks at number one in 1994 after winning the PGA Championship and the Open in the same year. '95 saw Greg Norman back in the driving seat for nearly 2 years straight. He spent 331 weeks at number one, the 2nd highest of all time, and the Great White Shark was at the top of his game for a decade. American Tom Lehman was next to reach the summit when he won the 1996 Open Championship, but had that number one position for the shortest time, just 1 week. On June the 15th, 1997, Tiger Woods became the youngest ever world number one, aged just 21 years and 167 days. The 14-time major champion has spent 623 weeks as world number one, by far the longest, and also holds the record of 281 consecutive weeks. One of only 5 players to win a career Grand Slam and the only player ever to win all 4 majors in a row, Woods' stranglehold on the top spot was due in part to making an amazing 142 consecutive cuts. In almost 12 years, Tiger only gave away a total of 55 weeks at the top position to 3 other players. Those players were 2001 Open champion David Duval, and 3-time major champions Ernie Els and the Fijian Vijay Singh. So much was Tiger's dominance that despite not playing a tournament for more than 6 months in 2008 due to a knee injury, he was still number one when he returned to action again. Woods' subsequent dip in form allowed others to catch up, including the Englishman Lee Westwood. The 2009 European Order of Merit winner was playing consistently well and continued to push for his first major title in doing so, earning a stop at the top. German Martin Keimer was also on form, with 4 wins in 2010, including the PGA Championship. Early success in 2011 was enough to catapult the German to the number one spot. Eight weeks later, though, Westwood's victory in Indonesia saw the Englishman regain top spot. Just 5 weeks on, and a playoff at the BMW PGA Championship against his compatriot Luke Donald would determine whether the #1 position would change hands yet again. When Westwood found the water, Donald took over and went on a 40-week run, culminating in an unprecedented double moneyless win, both in Europe and America. And that's how it stood up until early this month, when 22-year-old Rory Mcilroy became the 5th world #1 in the last 17 months.
To be able to call yourself the #1 player in the world is something that probably won't sink in for a little while, but you know, it's a great achievement, and I'm very honoured to join, you know, a list of guys who have occupied that spot, and you know, hopefully I can keep hold of it for a little while.
He didn't. It was only a 2-week stint for the Northern Irishman, as Luke Donald's 5th PGA Tour victory at the weekend moved him back into the coveted first position. A total of 16 players from 10 countries have held that top spot, and the race is only just warming up in 2012.